what is the hardest scene for you to write? The meet cute, the breakup, or the happy ending?
About the sex scene.
Yeah, right. I know. I feel that in my bones. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the More Than Words podcast, where you can get happily ever after hours. I am USA Today Bestselling Author Dakota Willink, and I am so excited to be back here with you for our second episode today. If you missed the episode with Carrie Ann Ryan, you might want to go check that out because we had some good laughs during that one. For those who do not know me, know that I am best known for writing dark billionaire romance, but I'm also known to stray in other romance subgenres when the mood strikes. I am currently sitting here with three cavaliers staring at me, Maisie, Emmy, and Guinness. They do not know office place manners yet, so if they interrupt, I'm going to apologize now in advance. They were good for the last recording. We'll see if that stays true for this one. Today, I am so excited to talk with Christy Bromberg, probably best known for her popular Driven series. Kay Bromberg is a New York Times bestselling author, but more importantly, she's a mom to three kids. She likes to write damaged heroes we can't help but love and strong heroines that we root for. She writes across all romance subgenres, from sports to billionaires to small town. I personally have only read her Driven series, which is an F1 racing series. And I read that because I needed to get familiar with the storyline because I also wrote in her Driven world. So my book Endurance was originally written in her in that world. And that was a challenge. If you watched the episode with Carrie last week, I talked a little bit about that because F1 was something that was completely out of my wheelhouse. So that was interesting. But before we move on and I bring in Christy, I just want to make sure to remind everyone to hit the like button. This is very, very important because it feeds the algorithm and it allows other people like you to find us easier. So that said, let's get to it.
Hold on, I'm trying. Okay, there we go. I always mess that part up.
Hey, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good, good. It's better than me. My phone, I don't know, my phone didn't update, and every time I go into Zoom now, it connects to my phone, which is like on the other side of the room. I'm like, what? What? I don't know how to turn that off. So it happened this morning. I had a call. So yeah, it was the fact that you got on that quickly. I was wondering to see if you were going to have that issue
Oh,
because it happened to me and the other person that I had a call with this morning.
oh.
Yeah, I don't.
We
Do you
have
have
a
an
problem in
Apple?
our house where I can't listen to my headphones if my husband's on his headphones.
Yeah, when my son's home, I have to make sure my Bluetooth is off because it'll connect like all of
Yep,
the headphones are
yep,
connecting. I don't understand. Like I love technology, but sometimes I'm like, why can't you get this right?
yeah.
Why aren't you just connecting to like the device that's like next to
Exactly,
you? Not the
exactly.
one that's upstairs.
Yeah, exactly. What
Oh,
does the bottom of your shirt say? All I see is Mama needs some.
oh, Mama
Oh,
needs some
okay. I was
wine.
like, what do you need?
Mama needs some wine. So yeah, so it's a little early for that. Yeah, but I don't know. The mood was right this morning. It's been like a week. I'm telling you, it's been a weird. I don't know if it's because the weather is weird. It's hot, and now today it's cold. I was in the pool 2 days ago, and now it's like I
Yeah.
don't know. I was just introducing you before we jumped on, and when I was reading your bio, it actually made me smile because I can relate to the whole mom first thing. I always like to see your posts. You have three girls,
Yeah.
right?
I have a boy, girl, boy.
Oh,
Yeah.
boy.
No,
Okay. Oh, I
wait,
thought, why did
girl,
I think
boy, girl. Yeah.
girl, boy, girl? You had to remember the order
I
of them.
forgot. Yeah.
That's all right. When I'm yelling for my kids, I'm usually calling the dogs names, so don't.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. So no, but when I see your posts, they make me smile because it's like trying to juggle all the things and then still make sure that we're,
Your
being
word
mom
counts
is
in.
yeah, being mom is top. Oh, here they go.
Yeah.
See, I warned everybody ahead of time. Hang on. Hang on. Hang on. It's squirrel season.
I get it.
So they were really good yesterday when I had to do a meeting, but now, they're gonna prove me wrong.
That's how it works. That's how it
Here we
always
go.
works.
So anyways, yeah, I warned everybody. I have three Cavaliers and they don't have office manners, so we're just gonna
Yeah. You do
just
mine.
I
So
just fed
we'll
them.
figure
I
it
just
out.
fed them. So anyway, so yeah, trying to juggle all the things and still make being like a mom like top priority.
Yes. It's definitely difficult. It's gotten easier as they've gotten older, clearly, but yeah, you always feel like you're not doing enough. Always. It's just a mom thing.
Yeah, for sure. So right now, just to kind of I don't know, just like I like to do this in the beginning because it's sort of just kind of it's like a little icebreaker, helps people get to know
Okay.
us a little bit better. Tell me one thing that you are loving and one thing that you're hating.
I am loving playoff baseball. I'm a big baseball fan. So, loving playoff baseball, even though my team is not in it, and hating or disliking why my bananas are turning brown so quick. I feel like I keep buying bananas and I'm like, what is going on?
My husband is a huge Mariners fan. In fact, we just hit
Oh,
a Mariners baseball game when we were in Seattle a few weeks ago. And I love playing baseball. I cannot watch baseball. It's so
oh, I
boring.
love. I went to Chicago for a signing last weekend and my mom wanted to go with me and it ended up being my team's the Padres and they ended up playing the Cubs the day we arrived and so we switched our flights to go earlier so we could go to a game. So I got to go to a game at Wrigley Field, which I've never been to. My team lost, but it was cool.
But it was still fun. It was
It
still
was
fun.
cool because my mom's a huge Padres fan, so we got to go and kind of have mother-daughter time and do something normally boys do, but yeah.
Yeah, no, it's still fun. It's still fun.
Yeah.
So I'm currently loving Korean skincare and I have like a new obsession. It's like a Medicube
Oh,
triple.
Medicube. Yes,
It's a triple collagen cream. I'm like obsessed with
Ooh, you
with
need to
it.
give me
It's
that
really
because I'm like
yeah.
I have just my my mom sent me like 2 years ago. She goes, Christy, skincare. You need like my girls are really, really good at skincare. She's like, I know you don't care because you're a mom. You'll go to like buy all the drugstore, but you need to get some good skincare. So I was
Yeah.
like, so now I'm like, I all my TikToks and reels are like skincare stuff. I'm like, I don't know what one's to do, so you have to give that to me.
I should give you, yeah, I should give you my whole, I have a whole list of like all the stuff that I'm like,
Yeah,
it's all I do is I don't know, I've tried like a whole bunch of stuff and then once I narrow it down, I send it to people. I'm like, okay, this is what you're using now. Like,
that works. That works.
yeah.
Add me to the list.
So, and honestly, for right now, what I'm hating is a squirrel in my backyard that's terrorizing the dogs, which is why it
Yeah,
interrupted
I'm
our
sure the mailman
beginning.
will interrupt ours with my dog. So.
It's this time of year because it's like there's this squirrel that's in the front yard and it comes around the house and it collects its nuts and then it comes back and forth. It goes to the front window and to the back window and it just sits
Oh,
there and
double
stares
whammy.
at the dogs. And it's like it's anyways. So
Yeah,
now we're back into squirrel season. I was here last year, now it's back this year.
now it's back.
So, all right. I'm gonna pull up some reader questions. There's a couple of them. A couple people submitted some questions. So we have um one from, we can start with Holly from Lancaster, PA. She wants to know, how did you start your journey into romance writing?
I have always, like all of us, we've always loved to write. I wrote a book out of college that got some interest from agents, but it was one of those things, I was too young. I was too like, I'm not changing this for you. And so I went to a couple like meetings with the agent and I kind of felt like she just wanted to rewrite everything and like take over. And so then I just kind of let that go. Um, got married, had kids, worked. I had 3 kids under the age of 5. My mom called me one day and said, you need to meet this Christian Grey guy. So I read 50 Shades, and then I started reading the books that came after it, like Jodi Ellen and Rain Miller and Sylvia Day. And I was like, you know what? I think I can do this. So I started writing Driven, my first book, just kind of as a challenge to myself when I put the kids down. And I didn't tell anyone. I think when I published, I only my mom and my husband knew. And ever since then, yeah.
Yeah, story's actually a little bit similar to mine. I wasn't younger. I mean, I was always like the creative type. I used to like draw and paint and like all like I'm a graphic designer.
Artistic,
I
yeah.
originally went to school for graphics and then um my husband was traveling. He was out of town all the time for work, and I had been reading a ton. And I just decided, I was getting like bored with what I was
Yeah.
reading. And so I'm like, I'm just gonna try to like write my own and see what happens. I didn't tell anybody I was writing, and then I had a Samsung computer and I lost like everything. Like the
Oh,
only thing I had was just like a few chapters that I had emailed to myself like months before because I got like that blue screen of death. I don't know if you remember those.
yeah.
Are they still a thing? I don't know. I have a Mac now,
I
so
don't know. I just now it's the spinning, the
yeah, there's that too. So I was like so devastated. I went to the Apple store and I called my husband. I'm like, so I'm gonna spend $1,000 on a computer, and he's like, what? He thought
Because
I'm like,
back
well,
then
this
that
is
was expensive.
why.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, back then it was a lot of money, and he was like, what? And I had to tell him why, and he was like, oh, okay. And I think he was so floored, like, wait a minute, she's writing a book. Is this for real? Okay, I'm gonna be a supportive husband, whatever you want. And I bought the
Yeah.
computer, and then I started to write it, and like you, I pitched. And I had somebody they were trying to like rewrite like the whole thing for me. And it
Yeah.
was at the time when 50 Shades had just started getting big. And I think they were this editor, who shall not be named, was trying to chase the next
As
50
they all
Shades.
were.
Yeah. And they kept trying to change all this stuff. And finally, I ended up just taking it back and adding things that like I wanted to do, and then I just self-published to see what would happen. And yeah, here I am. And
Yeah.
that's still my number one selling book to this day. Here it is 10 years later, and it
Yeah.
still sells more than anything else. So
It's crazy because even I was talking to someone earlier today because I was like, I need to like some certain authors do really good job at like keeping their original books like
mhm.
alive. And I am like I almost like I told her I feel like I'm not that I'm ashamed of Driven, but that like I write so much better now.
Yeah.
So like I don't like people to start with that book, even though clearly that's like my biggest seller of all time. So I'm like, I need to get over that and like work better at like marketing like my old stuff. But it's hard to because I'm like, God, I write so much better now.
I
But it's the
have gone
story.
back. Well, I didn't change the content really. I did, is what I did because I mean, I didn't know what I was doing. The book never saw an editor. I just did the
Yeah.
best I could and indie published. I knew like
Yeah.
when I say I knew nothing, I literally knew nothing, you
I
know?
published Driven without you know how you approve all changes?
Yeah.
I didn't know I was supposed to do that, so I just published it with all the errors and everything in it until I
Oh,
got my first like two reviews. Like it's a good story, but there's so many errors, and I'm like, what do you mean? Like I edited, I didn't realize I had to approve all.
yeah, even still, I'm going like in going through like I'm pulling excerpts and stuff like that. So I've gone back. I actually had it properly edited without changing the content. I'm still finding typos in that book, and
Yeah.
just feel like it's an inevitable thing that it doesn't really matter how good your editor is, there's still going to be things here and there.
I
It
have
still
10
happens.
proofers and each one, yeah.
Um, I did update a few things in that book though, in reference to like she was talking about like she had her iPod. So I kind of just changed the lingo a
Made it
little
more
bit so
current.
that it make it more, well, more timeless, I guess,
Yeah.
because things then the only thing I was contemplating doing was going through and changing a car because my hero, but I was like, the amount of work that was going to take, I just didn't do it. The hero drives a Tesla, and without going into person non grata, we had I had some readers like complaining about that. I'm like, I wrote it 10 years ago. So
Yeah.
I just left it alone because I'm like, the amount of work I would have to do to change 5 books, because that eventually ended up becoming
See,
five
when
books.
that's for me, it's like I had it re-edited again like later,
Mhm.
but I have 5 books in that series between audio and then the movies. Like, there's no way I can go back and change content.
Yeah.
And so it's like I would be trimming like numerous inner monologues, I guess,
Yeah.
but the audio alone would cost me almost $40,000 to redo, and
But
it's not worth it.
in fairness, so when you're saying you would like lose inner monologues, that's actually some of the things that I loved about Driven, because that's the only thing I always say, like, if I know the author, I don't read them. I don't know
Yeah,
why. It's because once I meet you, I can't get your
it's
voice
hard.
out
Yeah,
of
it's
the
super hard.
characters.
Yeah,
It's weird. So I don't read people that I know, but I read it before I knew you.
yeah,
So it's so weird how my brain works. I'm able to separate that from
I
you.
get it.
And I
I
that's
get it.
I liked that about Driven.
Yeah. So like to me, it's like I need to figure out how to do better at taking the past books. Like I recovered everything, but it's like I need to do better at like pushing that series because that's still I still get comments today about that series. So
Yeah, I mean, even when I like introduced you, I says, my next guest is Christine Bromberg. She's most known, probably you might probably know her from
driven.
the Driven
Yeah.
series because that's what everybody knows you
Yeah.
for.
Yeah.
But even though like that's your most popular backlist, you do have a new book coming out called Threaded Lies.
Yes.
What is that all about?
Threaded Lies is the second book in like an old school trilogy.
Mhm.
Went back to the trilogy days. Um, it is kind of like the Murdoch family meets like Succession on HBO. It's just kind of a twisted revenge tale. He was wronged way back when, and he comes back to seek revenge on the family. And unbeknownst to him, the woman he falls for, well, he knows that the woman he falls for is part of the family. And at first, it's kind of, I'm going to use this to my advantage, and then, oops, I fell for her. So this is book two. Um, and there's the mailman. This is book two.
So the
And
dogs
then
start
this
barking again. Yeah.
yeah, this is book two that releases next week. And then the third book will release next year.
Okay.
It's with the
Nice.
publisher, so that's why it's so far apart.
We do have that book set up in a giveaway. So
Yes.
if the readers when they're watching this, there's the link for the giveaway in the description for this episode, so you can find that there. All right, we're going to move on to another reader question. So we have Kimberly from Austin, Texas. She wants to know, what is the hardest scene for you to write? The meet cute, the breakup, or the happy ending?
How about the sex scene?
Yeah,
Um,
right. I know. I feel that in
um,
my bones.
Yes, I hate writing sex scenes. I would say the beginning of a book. It's always the beginning of a book because I'm questioning, am I hooking the reader? Am I giving them what they need to like intrigue them to want to keep reading? Uh, and then usually when I finish a book, I go back and and fix the beginning because I feel like I know my characters better by the ending. So then I always usually go back and like adjust it some more. But definitely I think the beginning of the book is way harder. And not so much, I mean, usually the meet cutes in the first couple chapters. So I would say the meet cute, the beginning of the book is way harder. What about you?
I agree. I feel like the setup is the hardest. So once you get to like the setup and then now you go into like the story building and you're kind of going along. And then I find that two-third mark, everything gets easier and then you
Oh,
can
it's
just
like it
fly
just
through
falls
it.
out. Yeah.
And then you go back and make your characters a little bit
Yeah.
stronger, like in the beginning,
The breakup's the
for
fun
sure.
part, or like the third act is the fun part because
Yeah.
you've like worked and worked for it, and like finally you get your payoff to like
Yeah.
go for it and be crazy. Yeah.
Hey, some people don't like the third act breakup, but I'm kind of like, I feel like
It just
you
depends
need
on the
it.
characters.
Yeah, it really depends on the characters. It's also I feel like it's a good conflict, or at least not even if it's not always just like a breakup, but like there's a
There has
fight
to be
or
something.
something that gives them conflict. Yeah.
Like I don't want to read a book where the whole time they're, oh, we're in love, and then we just stay in love and we're always in love, and then oh, happy ending. Like I need something. I need tension.
Yes, for sure. That's what I like to read though. I like suspense, like that sort of
Yeah.
angst, in my books. But yeah, it's funny you say though the sex scene for sure. Like why? And you're not the only one. I feel like every author I know, we write romance, but yet all of us, it's like we're writing placeholder, write sex scene, and then we just go back to
Yes.
it later.
But I
Like
mean, because I think
nobody
after,
wants to do
like
it.
how many books have you written? I'm on 40 something.
11. I
Yeah.
have like
Like
nothing.
for
I'm a
me,
slow
it's
writer.
like there's only so many ways you can do it.
Yes.
Like there's only so many words to describe it. And like I know every time I write, it's like, oh, I can't use this word because I'm going to piss these people off, and I can't use this word. So it's like you use the tried and true ones, but it's very repetitive.
Yes, I agree.
Um, and so I used to be a straight through writer, and then because I'm always behind on deadlines, because surprise, that's how I am. Um, I have learned my first draft, usually I just skip the sex scenes and I put like up against the wall scene, hate fuck scene, like whatever. Because when I come back in my second drafts, I know my characters better.
Yeah,
And
maybe
so
that's why I skip it. Because when
yeah,
I'm
and so
going
then
through, I can't write it.
then I'll edit the whole book this on the second draft, and then I write all the sex scenes in order. Like I write them back to back to back. And that way I feel like it's less repetition. Because like when you're writing a book, like it's 2, 3 months time. Well, for me, it's usually 30 days because I procrastinate. Um, you like write a section and then like there's always turns of phrase that we use, like there's always certain words we use over and over
Yes.
or sayings. And so I feel like if I write them all in order, it limits that because I'm not like, writing a sex scene, then writing 20,000 words in between and then, writing another one. So if I write them all in order, I feel like I'm cutting out the repetition and the same use of words. Um, and then I want to kill myself because I'm like, oh my God, I have to write like 3 or 4 sex scenes in a row. And oh,
Yeah, for sure. The last time when we did the Instagram live was when I had just released, when we did that together, I just
yeah,
released Take Me Under. And it had been like 2.5 years since like I had released a book. And I had gone through so many rewrites on that, trying to figure things out
I
that
remember that. Yeah.
when I was going through and like proofing it, I was like, oh my God, I said the same line 1,000 times. And it was always like during like a sex scene
Yep.
because it was like, oh, I'll just do it later. I'll do it later. And then it ended up being like so repetitive. I'm like, how many times can he say, roll over or what,
Yeah, I've
whatever,
had people say
whatever I was
like I could
writing.
pick, yeah, I've had people say I could pick your sex scenes out because of how you say things. And
Yeah.
so like someone there was an author who wrote something a couple years ago and some a blogger reached out to me, well, back in the blogger days, reached out to me and was like, "Did you write this for this author? Did you write the sex scene for this author?" And I was like, "No, why?" She goes, "Because it sounds exactly like your sex scenes." And I was like, "Well, there's only so many words, like there's only some, like
Yeah, right. I know.
yeah." And she's like, well, it was either you or this author because I know the way you guys sound and you sound just like this. And I was like, and it ended up being the other author who had helped someone write the sex
Oh,
scene.
wow,
Yeah,
really?
which I
That's
thought was
so
really
funny.
funny.
The fact that a reader was able to like pinpoint
Yeah,
that, that's like, that's crazy, like attention to detail.
yeah.
Yeah, wow. Well, so now, so we're talking about like all of like, we talked about having to build the character and emotional. How do you create the emotional depth in the story and still keep like the steamy elements, like that build up?
Um, all my people have troubled past. It's just way easier that way. Um,
Hmm.
I
Yeah,
mean,
more
you have to,
fun.
yeah, and they have to have growth. Like, it's not clearly if they're a happy-go-lucky person, there's gonna have you have to have some kind of conflict for them. But for me, I like to something real. Like there's always something real in my books that people connect on. Like I've written about dyslexia and like Down syndrome. Like I've to me, there's something in each book that I have to write that's, I could be writing about a billionaire who sweeps you off your feet and it's so unrealistic, but there has to be something real. And I think that connects readers to the characters. Um,
Do you use real life experiences and like events or things like that to
no,
kind of, well, no, I mean, or even like a story that you heard to kind of try to
yeah, I mean,
capture
I'll
emotion?
pull things like I don't know about you, but like I could hear a news story, and then like 3 days later, like one line from that news story has like tumbled into like a whole something different.
Yeah,
Or
I think
reading like
we yeah, we talked about that actually when we
yeah,
did that Instagram live because I that was a CNN article I read about them finding the grave site
yeah,
of like
yeah, oh yeah, yeah, I remember that.
Cleopatra,
Yeah,
and it turned into a whole, that's where Take Me Under came from, and it
yeah,
only has a tiny little portion of like
yeah.
of that is in this story, but like I just built a book off of this
Yeah, and even
little
like
article.
reading someone else's book, like a totally obscure line has nothing to do with the plot. Like all of a sudden it's like, oh. Um, so for me, I just think depth, I want to connect with characters when I read a book. I want to feel like I'm in the room with them. And so I do think as much as people hate inner monologue and think it's, crap, it takes up, I heard people say if I read 2 pages and there's no dialogue, I'm not reading the book anymore. And I'm like, one, how big is your font? Because let's talk about fonts. Because
Yeah.
on a Kindle, it could be gigantic and 2 pages is one paragraph.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's the whole subjective thing. But I think to me, I want to hear what they're thinking. I want to hear the thought process. And, I've made that allows me to like or dislike what they're going to say or their actions, but at least I know the reasons behind it. And I think that connects people. If it was just simply action and dialogue all the time, I wouldn't connect. So for me, it's getting in their heads and it's going through the emotions. So it's a really long answer. Sorry.
No, 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 no. You're no, no, you're totally fine. No, actually, we're like ahead of time. It's hard to like stay on like
Hmm.
topic, but like we're actually doing a really good job. No, well, so you write, so you don't really stay in a lane. You're kind of like whatever suits your mood. You got billionaires,
I
small
write all
towns,
over the
sports.
place. Yeah.
What's your favorite thing to write?
Well, I like sports romances just because I'm a sports girl. But I like enemies to lovers because I love the tension you can pull from as an author, like strictly from an author side.
Mhm.
I like Second Chance because if they hop into bed right away, there is at least a history there, and the girl's not going to be slut shaming for, hopping into bed with the guy.
Mhm.
Um, and I like fake dating. Like I just think it's fun.
The
I
fake
think the
dating.
whole, yeah, I think the whole like, or marriage of convenience, the whole concept of we're not supposed to like each other, we're not together, but then all of a sudden those little hints start dropping and you're like, ooh. So yeah.
I've been like enjoying her. This is the first time I did this, like the whole quid pro quo, like you do this for me, I'll do this for you type thing, like the bargain.
Yeah.
That's what I did and Take Me Under. And I'm like, actually, this is kind of fun because it's like how you work through your morals. Like, can I
Yeah.
sacrifice this to give this? And that
And
was
that's kind of the series that's releasing. That's kind of she gives up things to like that slights her family to appease him, but she's gonna get something in return. So yeah, I mean, I think that's it's just fun. Like I don't like there's things I haven't written that I would like to, I haven't written like real suspense. I would like to do that. I don't think I've ever written a brother's best friend, which is bizarre. Um, but I like athletes. I think the found family aspect of it that you have outside, like from the team, and then you have more people you can pull from. Um, I'd like to write mafia, like, but I don't read enough of it to like know what I need to do. I mean, there's just
Yeah,
part of the
it's
problem is
funny
like,
you
yeah,
say that like about mafia because I'm actually in the same boat because I love that trope, right?
mhm,
But I know too much about it to I just know enough about like the real life aspect of it. And every
yeah,
time I read it, I'm like a lot of times I'm like they're
it's
not
not there.
getting it. They're not
Yeah.
getting it right. And then, but then I read like Aletha Romig, she did Respect.
Yeah.
She rebranded that book. I think it's called like The Price of Honor now. I think that's the name of
I
it.
know which one you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, it was, oh my God, I was crying my eyes out. But it was kind of like a spin-off of like her infidelity. And it was
Hmm.
so well done and so true to like what mafia is,
Yeah.
more so than like some of the other stuff. And I'm not to say that the other things are bad, but they're more like
But that's how I
romance,
feel about
more fluffy,
sports.
and they're not as gritty or
Yeah.
true, so that's why like I'm afraid to touch it because like I know like how much of a critic I am. I'm like, I'm not gonna do this
Yeah.
right. And so that's why I won't do
Well,
it.
and see, that's why sometimes sports romance for me, like I will read like someone has a hitting average, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's not hitting average, it's batting average. Like just like details, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
It's
So I
funny.
get
I
that.
was literally just talking to Carrie Ann Ryan when we were
Hmm.
recording her episode about when I had to write endurance in your driven world.
Hmm.
I've never, even to this day, have I seen an F1 or any sort of car race.
Any
I know
racing, yeah.
nothing about racing at all. And the amount of research I had to do this, because like I'm not going to get it wrong. This is
Yeah.
important. I'm in Christy Bromberg's
You did
world.
a
I
good
can't
job. You
screw
did a
this
great
up.
job.
It was like, but it was even things like pit crew. What's a pit crew? When I say
Yeah.
I did not know, like, and I had to
Anything,
do
yeah.
like,
You
so
would have
yeah.
never noticed though.
Oh, you didn't really?
No,
Because
I didn't notice. You did a great job.
oh, well, thank you. No, well, I also like when I made it so like he was a racer and like went into like
It's
the whole
easier, yeah.
like
But still,
injury and addiction and I did that instead because it was I felt like it was safer. I could do the
yeah.
damaged hero
I've done
better.
that before. Yeah.
Yeah, the damaged hero was so much easier than like in the moment racer.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that but I'm like a big researcher though because of those details. I don't like even if I'm not even comfortable writing about a place, I will go visit like we
Oh,
went to
you're
Italy,
good.
but I had to make sure
Yeah.
I was getting things right and so like I'm so particular like that,
See,
which
that's
is
good
part
though.
of the
But do
reason
you
why I'm like,
feel like do not well, and I guess it doesn't matter because it matters to you. Like, do you think readers even catch that? Because I know with my recent F1 series, I- I've read numerous F1 books where I was like, oh my God, you just don't get it. So, like, the first book, I made sure, like, someone said, this is the most Formula One book, romance book I've ever read. So, I made sure readers knew that I knew what I was talking about.
yeah.
And then the rest of them, I like didn't, I wasn't as detailed about the racing aspect.
I don't know. I think I here's the thing. I think that if the reader knows about the subject, like say for example, you live in New York City, right? So if somebody who lives in New York City, if I got the subway lines wrong, they're going to
Yeah.
call me out on it in a
Yeah.
review. So it was things like that, like you had to like pay attention to. So that and that was actually something I did get wrong. That's why I'm actually saying that, like using that example, because I
Yeah.
did get that wrong. For as detailed as I was, I referred to it as the wrong thing in the book. I called it like I called it like the red line or something. I don't remember what I called it, but they don't call it that. Like if you live
Yeah.
there and some readers like, first of all, blah, 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 she doesn't know. Like,
You're like, you're right, I don't.
and I was like, I'm like, I'm sorry, I got it wrong. And I was tagged in that review, so that was nice. That's a thing I'm trying to like not care about because I do read all my reviews because I think the
So I do
constructive
too, yeah.
feedback is good. But yeah, I don't need to be tagged
Yeah.
in your things that
I
are
get
like
you.
ripping me apart. Not
I get it. Yeah.
necessary. Um, so let's see, where are we? I like lost my thing. I do have one more. a reader question. They want to know what events you have coming up, but they also want to know what was your most embarrassing moment at an event, which that's kind of a funny question. I've never been asked that before.
Um, Events I've coming up. Oh, of course, now my dogs are barking. I'm doing a signing in San Diego in February. I had one, like making sure they stop barking. Sorry.
Oh,
Like
I
I don't
don't
want
even
you to have
hear
to
them,
cut.
so
Okay,
don't
good.
worry
I don't
about
want you to
it.
have to cut it out. I have a signing in San Diego next year. I'm really bad at signings because they ask you to do them like 2 years in advance, and with kids, I never know. So like there were two signings this year that I had to pull out of just simply because kids things happened. Um,
I don't
Puppy's
hear
crying.
them.
Like,
Yeah, I
okay,
don't hear
good.
them. So your
Okay,
mic
good.
is good. It's
Because
not
she's
picking them up.
super
Yeah.
loud. Um, so I don't know. Usually I wait till like the year of and then I kind of figure it out.
It is hard to plan that far in advance. Like I have, I'm doing a couple events with the Bells.
Mhm.
They're
The
doing
Bells do great events. I need to do another one. I haven't done it in a while.
They have two in February. One that's right by me. It's in Niagara Falls, and that's in 27. So it only takes me half hour to get there. And then there's another one in Kansas City, which I'll probably definitely do that. Like or make it well, not that I'm not definitely I'm already signed up. I'm definitely doing it, but I mean extend that because there's a lot of like indie romance bookstores in that area, and I'll probably coordinate like and do different events there. When I
Mhm.
saw they had that, so that's Paris with the Planes, and then uh Falling with the Bells. I'm trying to remember the names of because they have like
Yeah.
fancy names for all of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, these will be my first Bells events. I haven't done them before. I'm trying
They
to
do a
like
great signing.
diversify and not do the
Yeah.
same ones over and over again. Just because you just reach new readers and things
Yeah.
like that. But
And
yeah, but
I,
again, that's in 27. So if something
yeah.
comes up, I feel bad. I would feel awful canceling. But when we have to commit 2 years in advance, it really, I mean, things
Well,
happen.
yeah, and there's just the business aspect of it. Like they're costly,
Yeah.
sometimes you're just like I was supposed to do a signing this year, and when all was said and done between the mandatory hotel, you had to stay so many nights.
Mhm.
Just for me to get there, it was going to be $4,000 between flights and hotel. And I was like, business wise, for 250 readers, like, is that a smart spend?
Yeah.
Versus if
Yeah.
I saved that money and used it for an event where there were like 2 days worth 2,000 readers, like, and I hate looking at it that way because I prefer smaller signings. I like being able to spend more time and talking. But I was like, okay, like, do I,
I mean,
how?
I know I completely understand what you're saying because that was the year. So, because that's I saw you actually. It was at Readers Take Denver. There was Book
Hmm. Oh,
Bonanza. I
yeah.
did two rare events that year. It was so expensive because it's not just flying in the hotels. Now you're shipping your books,
Yep.
and you don't know what's going to sell. So, like, I have the pre-orders, but you never know, are the readers there? Are they going to be buying paperbacks, or are
Well,
they
and
are
you
they
don't know if the
ebook
signing's
readers?
going to fall off, like either. You don't know if you've committed, readers have committed, but then last minute, is the economy falling? Is this happening? Is
Yep.
there political unrest? Like you don't know what's
Yep.
going to happen. And then you sign on to a signing where there's supposed to sell 1,500 tickets and they sell 300 and you're like, oh, like,
Yeah. And now
good.
you've already like 2000 in the hole for
Yeah.
everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. No, and that's why I decided, okay, smaller events. I'm going to do a lot of driving.
Hmm.
I have a lot of Canadian events coming up, which is nice because I'm so close to the border. And
Yeah.
now there didn't used to be Canadian events, but now
No.
Canada's not coming to see us for good reason.
Yeah.
So they're coming up with all of their own events, and it's really great because now I can drive. Like I can't
Yeah.
tell you, there's a bunch in Toronto, we've got some in
Oh, that's
Ottawa.
cool.
So that's really nice. So I can go up, I can do more like that because there's not a lot. Everyone's like, oh, there's so many events on the East Coast. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm like in the Buffalo area. So that's not, I'm 7 hours from the coast. So like I'm seven
Yeah.
hours from an ocean.
And
It's
I'm
not
San Diego at
really,
the border on the very opposite side. Yeah.
yeah, like I'm not really close to like East Coast events. Um, so as what I'm doing is picking one that I have to fly to. So like next year it's going to be Wild and Windy Phoenix. And the reason, well, that one I'm so excited. We're going to see Lady
I did
Gaga.
that
We got
last year. It was a good signing.
Yeah, it was a good signing. There was like buying readers, very engaged readers.
Yeah.
So that's why it's worth it for me to do that one again. And Lady Gaga's going to be there that weekend, and I got tickets. So
There you go.
right in that complex, the complex is going to be a zoo.
Oh, that's going to be a zoo.
I was like,
Is it
we're
the same
never going
place
to
it
be able
was
to
this
see.
year?
What's that?
Is it the same place it was this year?
Yep.
Yeah.
Same place
It
that
was
the
a great facility.
Renaissance.
Yeah.
is Renaissance. What was it called? I'm
Yeah,
trying to remember.
I know. Yeah,
I liked it because like you could go out and it was like the whole entertainment area and there's
everything
an
was right.
outlet
Yeah,
mall. We got to shop. There was a lot
yeah.
happening. So it was definitely a good venue. So okay, so we are approaching like the 40-ish minute mark. Is there anything else you want to share with people?
Um, I'm always curious readers' opinions on authors. Like, I don't stay in my lane. Like, I've always been told by other authors, and I don't know about you, like, if you stay in your lane, if you only write single dads, or you only write sports, or you only write this, I'm always curious from a reader's perspective, like, do you like authors that only stay in their lane, or do you like authors that jump around? Because personally, like, I get bored. So I write all over the place as far as like, tropes and situations. And like, I know like say like Melanie Harlow, she like loves to write single dads and she does a great job at it. And I've had readers tell me, well, I know I'm getting a sure thing. So I return to it because I know I'm going to get that sure thing when I read I'm going to get the single dad. She knows the trope. She knows what I like in it. So I'm always curious from a reader's perspective, um, like, what do you like out of an author? And not
That's
that I'm going
actually a
to get an
really good
answer in this.
question. Yeah, so I mean, for anyone watching this, like drop your answer, like your response to that in the comments because I don't stay in a lane.
Yeah, because I've been
Like
told by
I'm known for
numerous,
my billionaires. Like you're known
yeah,
for your driven. Like I'm known for my like dark billionaires. And but well, it's like dark-ish now. I feel
yeah,
like it's dark is so
believe
dark
me.
now. Like so it was like dark five
I
years
just
ago.
re-edited a novella that I dropped in 2014 that was banned from Amazon because it said something about being drugged. And now that book is so light compared to others. So I'm just like, I just re-edited it and I'm going to re-release it because I'm
Yeah,
like,
like what's the
what,
yeah,
why
there's
not?
the
Yeah.
line just doesn't seem to be there anymore. I don't know. So yeah, but I have like a romantic thriller. I will say so well, it's borderline romantic thriller, like The Sound of Silence. You were saying you wanted to write something that was more suspense heavy.
Hmm.
This was like a Sleeping with the Enemy
Oh,
retelling type
cool.
story. And that that was like so I interviewed like a lot of women for that, like to get the
Hmm.
domestic abuse part right. And that was like emotionally exhausting, but it was also probably my
Thrilling
most rewarding book I ever did because it was something I really wanted to write.
to do.
So yeah, so if you
I'm
want to write that, like write that
I
like
have a book right now that I'm
suspense heavy.
writing that's completely off my radar. And it's the first book in probably 6 years that I've sat down and written the first 5 chapters, and I'm like happy with them and just moving. Like it's
Yeah,
so
then
bizarre to
you need
me.
to finish
So
that
I'm like,
book.
I'm just gonna keep going. Like
Yeah.
it's my normal readership is gonna be like, what the hell?
Is
But
it
to
still a
me, it's a
romance?
palate cleanse. It's romance, but it's like a palate cleanser. It's something different and out of my orb. And so many industry people are like, yeah, you like I was saying you should stick in your lane. I'm like, but sometimes
It's
that
boring.
you can sense that from an author. I think when
I
they're
think so too, because so like if they're not happy, no, I agree. I agree with that. I feel like and I've actually heard this from authors that are like, oh, like they were getting tired of writing the same cowboy, the same, you know what I
yeah,
mean? And I'm like, so go, and they're like, no, 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 you got to stay in a lane. And I hear that all the time, and I can't imagine myself still being in
right.
this
Yeah,
business if I had to write the same thing all the time. So I remember I was supposed to be writing book three in the Stone Saga, set in stone. And I had this whole other idea in my brain, and it was in 2017, it was 2018. And I was watching some stuff that was going on with immigration, and it was making me like super upset. And I'm like, I have this story I have to tell. And
yeah,
I had such a hard time finishing that book that I was supposed to be finishing because my
because your
brain was
brain,
in a
yeah.
different story and I loved this duet. And it's been rebranded now. It's untouched and defined. And that's why I
Hmm.
wrote Endurance to be attached
Endurance, yeah.
to that. And I love this duet so much because I felt like it was a story that really like came
It
from
hits
my
home,
heart.
yeah.
And it was a story I had to tell. And yeah, if I wasn't allowed to do that because I had to stay in a lane, I'd be miserable. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the one person I know who stays in their lane who absolutely loves it is Susan Stoker. She is like at 30% this always happens, at 60% this happens, at 80, and she has it mapped out. She loves what she writes. She loves that it's formula, and I love that for her. And her readers
I'm
love it.
I'm a
I
pastor.
could
I
not do
cannot
that.
plot to save my life. I cannot plot. I
I
try
always plot.
and
Yeah, I
fail.
always plot. I don't always stick with it, But like for the series that's releasing this next week, I had to because that's three books with like 18 different plots
Yeah.
going, and it was like I was so overwhelmed. Like I literally sat down and had huge boards like and had a W like on it so that I could put like the different climaxes and whatever. It was so hard.
I had to map out like certain like things I actually had to hit because I'm in a trilogy right now. And
Yeah,
so
so
I have
it's
like,
exactly the same thing.
yeah,
Yeah,
so the trilogy, it's like, it's more involved, but it's definitely not plotted chapters or anything like
yeah,
that. Like, and it's so crazy because my whole life is a color-coded Excel spreadsheet. Like, so the fact that I can't plot is so crazy to me.
that's
Like
funny.
that I just can't do
That's
it. I
totally
feel like
fine.
it stifles my creativity. I need to be able to just like run with a
Yeah, I
story.
wish I could. I would just spin my wheels endlessly.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, I go off the outline once I'm about like 30 or 40%, but the beginning I have to like know where I'm at.
yeah, no. I also write to an ending. I'm weird. Like I
I
visualize
write to an
ending.
ending.
Do
I
you
know what the
really?
ending is. Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it helps me like I can advance the story easier if I have the
Well, because
ending
then I
figured
can
out.
know what things like what threads to I always have like things threaded in my books that I can pull on if I get stuck.
Mhm.
So like a lot of people are like, well, what about this? You never use like especially in Driven, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. So like I have so many open-ended like threads there that I was in case I got stuck in like the last book that I could be like, oh well, I could use that now.
Because you were talking about like what readers like and if they like you to stay in a lane. And have you ever thought about creating like another F1 world? Like
Yeah,
completely different one.
yeah, I've thought of it.
Yeah, I feel like that would be very intimidating trying to like beat
I
your
can't.
bread
And
and
that's why I
butter.
stayed away from racing for so long. And then 10 years after, like Formula One became really big. So I did the Formula One series I did like the last 2 years. Um, it was kind of like, okay, I'm going to go back in racing, but I'm going to stay away because Driven is in Indy. So I did Formula One. But at the same time, everything is so different now. So it's,
Yeah. I did. I was just asking because when I was so the Stone Saga, that's like my
yeah.
bread and butter. And I remember talking to Sky Warren. She's like, "Why aren't you just capitalizing on that and like create like a whole universe and use this new book to and have it just kind of be a part of that too?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's a really good idea." And then doing all the rewrites, part of the struggle I had with that was I felt like I was in competition with myself. Like
Yes.
the Stone Saga was so involved, all the characters and all the subplots and the side characters were even like highly developed that I felt like I had to do that again. And I'm like, I can't compete with myself. I have to
Yeah.
just forget
I
that
had to
and
let
just
that
do
go.
this. Yeah,
Every male
it was so hard
character
to let it go.
And for me, every male character I would write, even to this day, well, he's no Colton Donovan.
Yeah,
And so, well, he's not supposed to be.
yeah,
And then if I did make it more like Colton, it'd be like, oh, well, she's just a one-trick pony. She doesn't know how to write another male voice. So you're never going to win. And I
yeah.
mean, for the first 5 or 6 years, that really plagued me. The whole, like, I'm never going to live up to it. And then it was like, you know what? That's great. I am fortunate that I have a character set of characters that people feel that about. I will own that and I'll just do what I'm going to do.
Yeah, it's hard to get to there though.
Easier said
Like
than done,
it is, I
believe me.
say it is. It's easier said than done. It's hard to get to there, but yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. So your final thoughts before we go. Tell me your unpopular opinion.
Diet Coke is better than Diet Pepsi.
My husband will say the otherwise.
Yeah.
Mine is, which is funny because you mentioned it. It's about your book. My unpopular opinion is the show Succession, I think is terrible. Everyone raves about it. I couldn't get past 3 episodes, and the entire premises is like
It
it just does
took
not
me,
appeal to me at all.
it took me probably the whole first season to one, understand what the hell's going on.
Okay. Okay. So all right,
Because
because
it's
I'm like, this is
complicated.
not
Because it's
grabbing me.
complicated. And there is stuff that they talk about, like the whole stocks and this that I just goes over my head. And I'm like, okay. And usually I'm like I really know things. Because I have like my family says I have Jeopardy knowledge. Like I know a little bit about a lot of things.
Mhm.
Um, that was really complicated for me, but I stuck it out because so many people were talking about it. So like for me, the best part about that show is later in the seasons, like when everyone starts backstabbing each other and like blindsiding each other. Like that's the part that I'm in for. Um, But the first, like my husband could not get past the first 3 or 4 episodes. He's like, and so like I watched it like when I was doing accounting, like later, you know, I have it on my computer. Um, but yeah, it's more to me the family dynamic and how cutthroat people are with their family. So like that's the aspect I think that pulls into my series. It's like money does things to people that
Yeah.
isn't always pretty.
Yeah, yeah, very true. And well, and that's what I thought like the show was about. And I don't know. And in fairness, when I was reading it, it was or when I was not reading it, when I was watching it, like I just don't know if I was in the right mindset for it
Yeah,
either.
but I had to start it probably like 3 times to finally like make myself stick with it and then
Yeah,
get
we
in.
we started it like 3 times and finally I'm like, why
Yeah.
am I doing this a third time? I didn't like it the
Yeah.
first 2 times. I'm not doing that.
And like I've seen this baseball scene where he does a helicopter to the baseball scene like 20 times because I've
Yeah.
only watched that episode so many times, the
It's like
first one.
episode 2 when that happens,
Yeah,
right? I think
yeah,
something like that. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And he was
So
like writing the check and
yeah,
yeah, yeah. Okay.
exactly.
I do remember that part.
Exactly.
So all right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to wrap it up here.
Okay.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks
To
for
everyone
having me.
watching, please make sure you follow me and Christy. Our links are down in the comments. The next episode is going to feature Tara Conrad. She's the author of Dark Romance, best known for her Poe retellings. Make sure you submit your questions for that in the link below as well. And then subscribe to the More Than Words newsletter so you can be the first to know about upcoming episodes. And then finally, again, please make sure to hit the like button and share with your friends so that more people can find us. It kind of feeds the algorithm. And yeah, so this was fun, Christy. Thank you for
Of course.
coming
Thank
on.
you for having me.
Yeah, it was nice chatting with you.
Yes.
So, all right, we will talk soon.
Bye.
All right, bye. Hey everyone, thank you for tuning into the More Than Words podcast. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit the like button and consider sharing it with your friends so more people can find us. The more people we have listening, the more fun we can have on our shows. And most of all, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for supporting authors everywhere. Thanks and happy reading.